are the issues we're talking about here, will they be changed? Any more likelihood of change because of social media, because of the changing landscape of media?
I would love to be able to say yes, this will enlighten people and this will help. But the thing that has shocked me is when you see that video that was taken at the Cardinals game, and people on video with their faces showing are making these hateful racist statements. When you see that video that was taken at Powell Hall, and there's that man making this horrible statement and then grinning at the camera, and his partner with him just obviously having nothing but loathing for the people there. When you see Facebook comments where people, they're actually using Facebook to provide the commenting system where you have to provide a picture and a name, and people are still spewing racist bile, I really have my doubts. Because there seems that thing, well, it's wonderful, in fact, we know who they are, but my point is...
I mean, I think that it is wonderful that we have the video of people saying this. I think it's wonderful. It's our Emmett Till moment,
where's the shame gone?
Well, I'd rather you be honest about how you feel, because shame means that I'm still doing this, but I'm just going to not do it in this way. If we have these Emmett Till moments where you're forced to look at the body, where you're forced to see the harm that is done, then we can start to have honest discussions about what's really going on. It's so meaningful that Cardinals fans feel that way. So St. Louis,
I don't want to be Pollyanna, but I just have to say, after the game the other night, my hard-hitting assignment was to go talk to fans about the game, the win, and everything. Totally at random. The first 10 people I came into were racially diverse, economically diverse, I would guess, and they were having fun together and getting along and excited. I just want to put that out there, that not everyone.
To do that.
Pardon me?
The Cardinals have the ability to do that when they win.
Well, that's a whole other show, perhaps. I don't know. That could be. And again, I'm not trying to be Pollyanna.
Experience, having people scream at me, "Pants up, don't loot," when I'm a 42-year-old woman with my pants pulled up too high. They're making a racist statement. That happened to me while I was protesting in Busch Stadium. I don't think I want to go back to Busch Stadium.
And I've witnessed, and again, I like to play devil's advocate, so whatever the point is, I always try to offer another one. But I've seen it and I even hate to say two sides, but I've seen it across the spectrum. People, I'm surprised they'll put their face on certain things. Certain things that I've heard said on the live stream.
It's good to see that, but on the other hand, the fact that I don't think those people are processing at all. They're not going to change, and that's what depresses me.
I don't expect them to change, but I expect the world to know that this stuff exists, and here's the evidence of it. So let's talk about it. Let's deal with it. Let's address it. Let's fix it. But we can't do that if we're saying we are racially, we're all cool with one another. St. Louis is a wonderful place, opportunities for everybody. All you have to do is work hard and pull your pants up, and life's going to be successful. It's not true.
A lot of people feel like I love Ferguson thing. I heard from a lot of protesters out there. They feel it's another one of those cover-ups that St. Louis creates to just put a blanket over the.
Well, what do you mean? Because the word cover-up can mean a lot of different things.
I mean, okay, so people
papering over.
Paper like a Band-Aid, like a Band-Aid. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about the problems. It's fine. We love Ferguson. We okay. It's fine. There's no racial problems. We all love each other, right? But instead of actually going deep and do the hard work and fixing the actual racial tension that we all have and fix it.
But I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people believe that. There was an article in the Washington Post a day or two ago about the differences between how blacks in Ferguson and how whites in Ferguson have completely different perceptions, and it's shocking. And you see this on social media too. I was talking to you earlier. Recent study showed that most whites have 1% of their social media network is black. That's it, 1%. Is black. And
are other races similar?
Well, it showed black Americans, 65% of their social media network was black. So they were more racially diverse because they have to be. Well, that's the problem.
The cool thing about the social media component too is that with Twitter, more African Americans are using Twitter than other races, so it's the great equalizer, right? You have a lot of African American voices out there that you wouldn't have heard because of Twitter. You have a lot of African American people and people of color that are being taken seriously because of the great equalizer of Twitter.
And that's actually, let me say something.
Yeah, we have to follow. Yes.
That's so hard. That's one important reason why the leadership substantially has been young black folks because they were on Twitter. They dragged me on Twitter. I live on Twitter now because of these folks. And that's
When
the
you
only
say
place
leadership,
to
you're
be.
talking about the movement in Ferguson.
Absolutely, the movement of our culture. I mean, who are we talking about right now, and who made us talk about it?
Right.
And that's the other thing that you have to realize. St. Louis has become a region-wide town forum. Every place you go, people are standing up and testifying about what's really going on. We're not talking about a bad reality TV show. We're talking about the problems that are systemic to our community. I mean, it's an exciting time to be here.
So, okay, so the question that was brought up by Sarah was, maybe it's been transformative to us, but has it been transformative, as a region, which obviously you said that we've had other shows about it. But all of the things that social media has brought to the surface are that national news media has brought to the surface. Racial profiling in traffic stops, just poverty in some of these municipalities, just the fact that, police brutality and action. I mean, these are huge systemic problems that have been around for decades, and I think it's unrealistic to think that just bringing attention through social media is going to magically solve it. This is going to be a conversation and a community debate that we're going to have for probably the rest of our lives, I think.
Somehow we have to persuade the police officers that they need reform, and we have to persuade the wealthy school districts that they need to share the wealth, and we have to persuade every power holder that it's in their best interest to have a healthy society. That if we can't do that, we fail, and we just
Does
talk
anyone
about
at
it.
the table believe there are good police officers who
Sure.
And I think even the asking of that question is part of the challenge of having an honest discussion about this. Because if we begin with the place that this group over here hates cops, and this group over here loves cops, we're never going to get to the place that we need to be. We need to unpack how we tell the tale. For example, when there was this discussion this morning, a lot of words used of the police officers used restraint last night. And I think that's the wrong way to frame that. Because if a police officer didn't hit somebody or shoot somebody because they broke out their window, that's not restraint, that's training. The people that were in the street who did not terrorize the street, they were the ones using restraint. So when we say that the things that the police officers are supposed to be doing as a result of wonderful training, let's not call it restraint. Let's have a different discussion about what they did. They acted as they should have, given the right training. That's exactly what they were supposed to do.
When we care about police officers, we don't keep cutting funds to them. We don't keep making it more and more difficult for police officers to do a good job. They need psychological training. They need cultural sensitivity training. They need to be, and they need to be living in the communities that they serve. And serve is a word, longtime teacher over here. I never hit a student, no matter what, and I never could have and would have. And the option should not be you scare me, I shoot you. You scare me by your very presence, by your existence, because I've been conditioned to see you as frightening. Therefore, I kill you. That's not okay.
So I want to get just real quick, because you brought up how the hashtag had actually played a role in the fact that we're sitting around the table. Something.
I thought that was a great point.
I mean, I had never thought of that because I don't think it was intentional by anyone, was it?
To piggyback on that, the Trayvon Martin case, and you made me just realize this, the Trayvon Martin case was very focused on individuals. The Ferguson hashtag is focused on community. It's focused much wider than that. And that way, it forces people it keeps people from saying it's those two guys.
And now it's the Shaw shooting.
Right,
It's
yeah, the
16
Shaw shooting.
times. Yeah.
It's
I mean, the
these.
Post is reporting about the stories that they hadn't reported about because it's about the things that were happening in Ferguson. I mean, this is an amazing time to live. This is an amazing opportunity that we have in front of us to discuss and digest these issues.
Before you make that, I think it's also important for us all to understand as journalists that there is no competition when you uncovering truth. And so I think it's important that everybody that call themselves a journalist to work together and work together and don't worry about exclusives, but worry about telling the true story.
Bradley, I've used Twitter in that regard to share sources. St. Louis American, through me, I've grounded many international and national journalists that came to St. Louis, and they said, well, talk to this guy, he knows people. I just got on my cell phone, I said, who do you want to talk to? The governor, the state senator, I just give it out, because it's better for our community if it's covered well.
And I
I will
think-
help any journalist tell this story.
And I think it affects credibility when we constantly hear it's exclusive or we only here, only us now.
Harder to do that now, though, too. Because, I mean, people are, I mean, we see journalists that you wouldn't expect following people on Twitter and retweeting their things and doing stories based upon that. It's harder to
Those
do
that
that.
don't do that will die off.
Exactly.
They will disappear.
Exactly.
You have to do that.
Yes, you do.
I just want to know if there's any responsibility that we carry, and I'm not talking about the people at this table, I'm talking about anyone with a Twitter account, but especially, I guess, I'm talking about those who have a position of, they have the microphone, so to speak, whether it be because of their virtual position or their real world position. Is there any responsibility we have to have going forward? And I'm talking about, just whether or not someone retweets something that's inflammatory and false.
Well, historically,
Fact
we've
check.
always had, journalists have always had this story. You had yellow journalists, you had people printing handouts that were inaccurate, trying to get it into the mains. That's always been our challenge, trying to decide who is right and who is wrong, who's accurate and who is not. The challenge with Twitter is that it's happening so fast, and the challenge with Twitter is that we as journalists also are competitive, right? And you want to be, you really do.
I like your view. It's very utopian, but it will.
It ain't gonna happen. But it's a la land we all can dream for.
Yeah.
If we tweet something wrong, the public will let us know
There you go.
right
There
away.
you go.
That's
There you
fact checking at its finest right there.
All right,
I've
well,
deleted a lot of tweets.
of your own?
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Yeah, so have I. I mean,
As soon as somebody says, that's wrong or that's uncool,
Exactly.
I don't want to be
For
uncool.
instance,
you
I went to the when the lawyers for Mike Brown had the autopsy press conference. I was tired, so I instead of saying preliminary, I said preliminary. It's like the preliminary artery. I got like a pulmonary. Yeah, I said pulmonary. I tweeted 2 tweets like that. I got like 5 responses, man. Get the education there. You stupid. Right? I'm so sorry.
That will live on.
Let's see a couple more of JB's work. We're going to have to say goodnight. I tell you, JB, some things have not changed, though. I see you building relationships, I feel like, when you're doing your work. Because I don't think anybody's ever kept you out of too many circles in terms of like, giving you access, it seems like.
No, in fact, you know that firsthand when we were out there next to Farazi's, and that woman said that she'd talk to me, but she wouldn't talk to you.
Yep,
So
that's right.
yeah,
Forgot about that. Selective memory.
Thanks for reminding me.
Thank you all thanks for your work there, JB, for sharing it with us tonight, and thank you all for sharing your time with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
very good points. Very good.